Good afternoon, YouTube friends. Thanks so much for coming by. We have still got plums coming out of our ears over here, so I thought I'd share with you another way to preserve them without having to can them. Keep on watching to see how we freeze our plums. Okie dokie guys, we've got another giant batch of picked plums here. I've rinsed them initially in a little tote in my yard with the hose, and now I've got them in the sink, and we're going to give them another rinse again just to make sure they're nice and clean. Then we will de-stem all of those little stems that are stuck on there still and de-pit them. We're just going to cut them around that natural seam that you can see there in the plum, and we'll pop out that little pit and keep on going. It's super simple but pretty tedious, so it takes a little while, but it's worth it. And now I'm going to zest a couple lemons into these little guys. I got this new zester at TJ Maxx and I'm pretty stoked. I've been wanting one for a while. It makes a really nice fine zest, which will get distributed really nicely throughout our plums. So I'm going to zest 2 lemons. The ratio is about 1 lemon per 50 or so plums. Same ratio as I used for our prune recipe. If you haven't checked it out, I will link it above. There's something about lemon. This is actually the original recipe that made me realize that lemon and plum are just amazing together. It brightens everything up, makes it taste really fresh even after you preserve the plums. So worth trying when you're doing a little bit of plum preservation, if you will. So I'm also going to squeeze the juice of both lemons in here. So what we're going to do to preserve these plums is actually roast them a little bit. It's going to make them nice and caramely and sweet and delicious, and kind of par cook them. And then we're going to throw them into freezer bags. So it's going to make the most perfect chunky compote or pie filling or Danish filling. It's so delicious. I love making these in the fall and then making a plum pie for Christmas. It's really nice, and that lemon again just really brightens everything up. It doesn't taste like it's something that has been sitting in your freezer at all. It tastes super fresh. The texture holds up really well since we're not cooking them all the way through. Worth a shot, I promise. So once we got all that lemon in there, you can totally start the cooking process now, but I do like to add a little bit of sweetener where I definitely will use this as a pie filling. It's not a ton of sugar, but also has enough to be kind of like desserty. So I've got this, oh, we're just gonna get a little bit more lemon zest out of that zester first. So like I said, sugar is unnecessary, but I do like to add a little bit. Add any kind that you'd like. I have used agave before. I have used honey in the past, really good. My mom actually had this stevia, or Splenda, I'm sorry, brown sugar blend. It's super low cal, but it's got a brown sugar taste, and I thought this might work out really, really nicely, and I was totally right. It made everything really caramely and delicious without adding a ton of sugar. So just a cup for this entire pot of plums is plenty. Once we pour that in there, I'm just going to make sure everything's coated a little bit, and we're going to pop them on in the oven. So I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I've got some parchment paper on a couple cookie sheets here, and we're just going to dump them all on to the parchment paper. With this amount of plums, you probably could get away with 3 cookie sheets, but my mom's in the process of moving, so 2 cookie sheets it is, and it'll totally do. And like I said, you're not going to cook them all the way through, so it'll definitely work. Here's our 2 super full cookie sheets of plums. I'm just going to pop them in the oven for about 13 or 14 minutes, and then we'll check them out and see where they're at. Okay, after about 13 minutes, I'm just going to rotate rack so we can make sure that that bottom rack of plums gets a nice roastiness to it as well. As you can see, they're already turning a really beautiful burgundy merlot color. I'm going to let them bake for another 10 minutes and we will be good to go. Like I said before, we're not cooking them all the way through because we probably will cook them again in a pie or something like that. So you just want to let them release some juices and turn that really pretty burgundy color and you'll be good to go. That way when you rebake them in a pie or have them on top of yogurt or something, you really have the integrity of the fruit still. So here they are after about 23 minutes at 350, looking gorgeous. I'm just going to let them cool down on the countertop. But of course, I can't help myself. I need to try them before I put them in the freezer. So I've got a little bit of this Kite Hill Greek style, no sugar added yogurt. I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to make a little parfait. This is also a perfect way to enjoy these roasted plums. You can pull them out of the freezer as needed, let them defrost, heat them up, have them on ice cream, have them for breakfast like I'm doing right now on top of some yogurt. It's a bunch of different ways you can eat them. So I'm just getting those plums on there. I'm going to pour over some of that syrup that we created with the plums and the Splenda and the lemon juice. Add a little bit of granola, and this is like the most perfect fall breakfast in my opinion. Like seriously, doesn't that look so good? So we're gonna enjoy this little parfait while our plums are cooling down. And as soon as they've gotten a little bit closer to room temperature, we're just going to divide them up into 4 quart-sized freezer bags. And we're going to lay them flat in the freezer, and we can pull them as we need them and enjoy them all throughout the winter. Just as a point of reference, a quart-size freezer bag makes the perfect 9-inch pie. So keep that in mind. I love to make them for Christmas. This is the perfect way to preserve them and have them taste roasty and fresh and delicious all year round. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you're having a wonderful afternoon, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Cheers!